The pen hadn't even touched the paper when she said it. "Sir, that debt doesn't exist." And in that moment, Chichi Evra knew she had just signed her own deportation order. By sunrise, her best friend would be taken. And her name would be everywhere. Rain hammered the floor-to-ceiling windows of the penthouse boardroom at 88 Central Park South. Inside, the air was thick with silence and the smell of expensive cologne masking desperation. Richard Sterling sat at the head of the marble table, his hand trembling above a stack of bankruptcy documents. 3 weeks ago, he had been worth $4 billion. Tonight, he looked like a man attending his own funeral. His father had built Sterling Holdings from nothing, and Richard had spent 30 years trying to prove he deserved to inherit it. Now he was about to sign it all away. Around him sat 3 board members, a corporate lawyer named Patterson, and Claire Whitmore, the chief operating officer. Claire was immaculate. Blonde hair in a flawless chignon. Cream Chanel blazer. Pearl earrings. She watched Richard with the patient expression of a woman who had already calculated her next move. On the wall behind her hung a framed magazine cover, Claire Whitmore, Champion of Women in Finance. The irony would become clear soon enough. Near the door, invisible as furniture, Chichi refilled water glasses from a silver pitcher. Black slacks. White blouse. The uniform of the unseen. She pressed her thumb against the worn spiral notebook in her apron pocket, a habit she had developed in Lagos whenever anxiety crept up her spine. The notebook was filled with accounting exercises from her days at UNN. Numbers calmed her. Numbers never lied. She was good at being invisible. 2 years of practice since her student visa lapsed. 2 years of double shifts and cash payments. 2 years of making herself small so America wouldn't notice her. But then Richard's pen moved toward line 14B, and Chichi's eyes caught the words beneath the signature block. Debt owed to Axiom Capital Limited. $127 million. Her breath stopped. Axiom Capital. She knew that name. She had seen it in a Lagos business journal 3 years ago, sitting in the embassy waiting room before her asylum interview. The article had been clear. Axiom Capital Limited, struck from Nigeria's corporate registrar following the oil sector reforms of 2021. The company no longer existed. Yet here it was, demanding $127 million from a dying empire. Every survival instinct told her to stay silent. Pour the water. Collect your $200. Go home. But the number screamed at her. A debt owed to a ghost. She stepped forward before she could stop herself. "Sir, that debt doesn't exist." The silence cracked like ice. Richard's pen froze. The board members turned, their faces cycling through confusion and irritation. Claire Whitmore rose from her chair with fluid, predatory grace. "Chichi, is it?" Claire's voice was honey poured over steel. "You're the new girl from the agency?" Chichi's throat tightened. "Yes, ma'am." "Sweetheart." Claire smiled, the warmth never reaching her eyes. "Accounting isn't on your job description. Why don't you finish with the water and let the adults handle this?" The dismissal was surgical. Chichi felt it slice through her. The accent. The skin. The uniform. But Richard hadn't looked away. His hollow eyes held something unexpected. Curiosity. Desperation. "What do you mean?" he asked. "What do you mean the debt doesn't exist?" Chichi pointed to the footnote beneath line 14B. "Axiom Capital Limited was dissolved in 2021, sir. I saw the notice in a Nigerian business journal. This company hasn't existed for over 3 years." Patterson leaned forward. "That's impossible. We verified all creditors." "Did you verify them in Nigeria?" Chichi asked. "Or just in American databases?" The question hung like smoke. Richard's face drained of color. He looked at Claire, then at Patterson, then back at Chichi. "Show me." Claire stepped between them. "Richard, this is absurd. We can't halt a legal proceeding because the help has opinions about international corporate law." "Show me," Richard repeated, his voice harder now. Chichi pulled out her phone with trembling fingers. She scrolled through saved files, documents she had hoarded from her asylum case. She found it. A scanned article from Business Day Nigeria, dated October 2021, Axiom Capital Limited. among 847 shell companies struck from Federal Registrar. Richard took the phone. Read it. His jaw tightened. Claire. His voice was barely a whisper. Did you know about this? Claire's composure flickered for just a moment. Then she smiled again. Richard, darling, you're exhausted. This woman is a caterer. She doesn't understand the complexity of international debt structures. The complexity of listing a dead company as a creditor? Richard stood up. For the first time all night, he looked alive. Get out. Everyone out. Patterson, call forensic accounting first thing tomorrow. I want every creditor verified. He turned to Chi-Chi. Except you. You stay. The room emptied in tense silence. Claire paused at the door, her eyes meeting Chi-Chi's. The look was brief but unmistakable. A promise. The threat. Then she was gone. Richard sank back into his chair. Who are you? Just a waitress, sir. No. He shook his head. Waitresses don't read Nigerian business journals. Who are you really? Chi-Chi hesitated. The truth could destroy her. My name is Chi-Chi Ebra. I studied accounting at the University of Nigeria, Nsukka. I came here on a student visa 4 years ago. It expired 2 years ago. She paused. I'm not a criminal, sir. I'm just someone who fell through the cracks. Richard laughed, a broken sound. That makes 2 of us. He handed her a business card. Be here tomorrow at 9. I'm hiring you as a temporary financial consultant. He walked toward the window. My father built this company from nothing. I always wondered if I deserved to inherit it. 3 weeks ago, I thought I was losing it to bad luck. Now I'm starting to think I'm losing it to something else entirely. Chi-Chi left the penthouse with Richard's card clutched in her hand. The elevator descended 40 floors in silence. Outside, the rain had softened to a drizzle. She started walking toward the subway, already composing the message she would send to Tommy, her best friend, a Nigerian nurse who had given her a couch to sleep on when things got hard. Her phone buzzed. A known number. She answered. Hello. Silence. Then a voice, digitally distorted. You should have stayed quiet. We know where you live. And we know who you pray with. The line went dead. Chi-Chi stood frozen on the wet sidewalk, her heart pounding. Around her, Manhattan continued its endless motion, indifferent to her terror. She didn't sleep that night. The next morning, she found her apartment door slightly ajar. Inside, drawers had been overturned, papers scattered. Her Nigerian passport photocopy had been torn in half. Her UNN diploma had been slashed. But nothing was stolen. Just a message. We're watching. She pressed her thumb against her notebook, steadying herself, and went to Sterling Holdings anyway. The next 3 days blurred into spreadsheets and fluorescent lights. Chi-Chi pored over financial records, searching for more ghosts. On the second day, she noticed a file had been moved on the shared server, accessed at 3 a.m. On the third day, her office door was locked from the outside for 20 minutes before security fixed the glitch. Small things. Warning shots. But she found what she was looking for. Debts to dissolved companies. Losses inflated by 40%. Consulting fees paid to firms that existed only on paper. A pattern emerged, intricate and deliberate, designed to bleed Sterling Holdings dry. She presented her findings to the board. Richard nodded grimly. Someone has been systematically sabotaging this company. This wasn't bad luck. This was theft. The board authorized a full internal review. Chi-Chi was given an office, a salary, a temporary work authorization. She called Tommy that night. Tommy, I think I actually did it. I think I'm going to be okay. Chi-Chi, be careful. When you shake the tree, you don't know what falls out. I know. But for the first time in 2 years, I feel like I exist. She even started sleeping through the night. Then the news broke. Sterling Holdings whistleblower leaks documents. Undocumented immigrant accused of corporate sabotage. Her photo was everywhere. The narrative was clear. Chi-Chi Ebra, illegal immigrant, had forged documents to manipulate a vulnerable billionaire. She was the saboteur, not the savior. Her catering agency fired her. Her landlord slid an eviction notice under her door. And then, worst of all, A call from Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Ms. Ebra? This is Agent Reeves. We need you to come in for a routine check-in. His voice was too casual, too rehearsed. Someone had twisted her discovery into a weapon aimed at her heart. That evening, she received a text from Elena Hayes, a junior board member who had been kind during the review. Chi-Chi, meet me tonight. St. Bridget's Church on Avenue B, 8 o'clock. I have evidence Claire orchestrated everything. The leaks, the sabotage, the news story. She's been playing everyone. How do I know I can trust you? You don't. But I'm your only chance. Chi-Chi arrived at St. Bridget's at 7:45. The church was old and small, wedged between brownstones. Inside, candles flickered, casting trembling shadows across empty pews. She walked down the center aisle. Elena. No answer. The confessional booth in the corner was closed. The curtain moved. But it wasn't Elena who stepped out. Claire Whitmore emerged, her cream blazer replaced by a black coat. She was smiling. Chi-Chi, you've impressed me. Most people would have given up by now. Chi-Chi's blood turned to ice. Where's Elena? Elena Hayes is real. She's home in Connecticut right now, probably watching Netflix. Claire held up a burner phone. But she wasn't the one texting you. Amazing what a voice modulator and some research can accomplish. She stepped closer. Chi-Chi stepped back, shoulders hitting a marble pillar. You're clever, Claire continued. Nigerian accounting training. Quite rigorous. But clever doesn't win in America, Chi-Chi. Belonging does. And you don't belong. Why are you doing this? Because Richard Sterling is a sentimental fool who inherited his father's company and never earned $1 of his fortune. I've spent 15 years building this company into something real. Claire's voice hardened. Axiom Capital. The phantom debts. All of it designed to justify a bankruptcy that would let me buy the pieces through a shell company I control. I was weeks away from owning everything. And then you opened your mouth. Chi-Chi glanced toward the door. Don't bother. It's locked. Claire pulled an envelope from her coat. Sign this retraction. Admit you fabricated the Axiom evidence. Walk away quietly. And I'll make the IC problem disappear. And if I don't? Then tomorrow morning, you'll receive an official notice to appear. Expedited removal proceedings. Your asylum claim will be denied based on this. She held up a folder. A sworn statement that you committed fraud. Signed by 3 board members I control. Claire's smile was serene. And your friend Tommy? The nurse who's been sheltering you? ICE will visit her too. Harboring. Her green card application, denied. Her life, destroyed. Chi-Chi's hands trembled. She thought of her mother in Enugu, sick and waiting for remittances. She thought of Tommy, who had never asked for anything in return. Sign it, Chi-Chi. Disappear into the shadows where you belong. No. Claire's smile faded. Then you've made your choice. Chi-Chi ran. She slammed her shoulder into the side door, burst into the cold night air. Behind her, footsteps echoed. She ran until her lungs burned, until she collapsed in Tompkins Square Park, gasping. Her phone was gone. Dropped in the church. Her notebook was still in her bag, but what good was evidence when Claire controlled everything? She went to Tommy's apartment the next morning. The door was open. Tommy wasn't there. A neighbor said IC had come at dawn. Chi-Chi stood in the hallway, staring at Tommy's door, feeling hope crumble into dust. But then she noticed something. Under the doormat, a key. And taped beneath it, a flash drive labeled, for when they take your paper. She let herself in. Under Tommy's Bible, a note in familiar handwriting. An IT intern at Sterling sent this weeks ago. He suspected Claire but was too scared. I kept it in case you needed proof. The truth is on this drive. And Chi-Chi, I already sent a copy to Richard's personal attorney. If I'm taken, the truth still lives. Love, Tommy. Chi-Chi's hands shook as she plugged the drive into Tommy's laptop. Claire's real ledger. Shell company registrations. And there, buried in Delaware corporate filings, Axiom Capital Limited, re-registered in 2023 under the name Claire Whitmore Davenport. Claire's maiden name. Chi-Chi hadn't misremembered. Claire had revived Axiom after Chi-Chi spotted it, trying to gaslight her into silence. But the timestamps didn't lie. The next morning, Chi-Chi walked into the SEC's New York office. She didn't cry. She didn't soften her accent. She presented the data like a forensic auditor, clean, precise, Nigerian trained. Ms. Ebera, the investigator said, we've already received corroborating evidence from Richard Sterling's attorney. Mr. Sterling contacted us 3 days ago but needed you located to complete the witness chain. Richard had been fighting for her. Quietly. Carefully. An hour later, Claire arrived at the SEC, furious, demanding Chi-Chi be removed. The investigator looked up calmly. Ms. Ebra just filed a whistleblower complaint under Dodd-Frank. She's protected. Richard appeared in the doorway, pale but resolute. Claire, you're finished. In a closed-door hearing, Claire's lies unraveled. The shell companies, the fake debts, the IC threats, all traced to her. She was arrested for fraud, witness tampering, and immigration intimidation. Sterling Holdings survived. Tommy was released. Her green card was expedited as compensation. Richard offered Chi-Chi a vice president position. She declined. I don't want to become one of them, she said. I want to change the system, not climate. Instead, she negotiated permanent legal status sponsorship, a seat on Sterling Holdings' new ethics committee, and a scholarship fund for immigrant women in finance. 3 months later, Chi-Chi stood at a podium at NYU, accepting an honorary certificate in forensic accounting. She looked out at young black and brown women taking notes. She said, I refuse to let silence be my accent. The applause was thunderous. That night, she visited Tommy. They sat on the fire escape, drinking Zobo. Tommy was quieter now. She flinched at sudden sounds. Some scars don't show. Chi-Chi's phone buzzed. A Nigerian number. Oh Malika, her mother whispered. They say you made the powerful kneel. Chi-Chi smiled through tears. No, Mama. I just reminded them that truth has a witness. Even if she wears a uniform. She hung up and stared at the city lights. She had won. But victory had cost her something too. Tommy's trauma. Her own sleepless nights. The knowledge that speaking up could destroy you before it saves you. But she would do it again. Every time. Because some things matter more than safety. If this story moved you, if Chi-Chi's courage inspired you, hit that subscribe button so you never miss stories like this. Drop a comment and tell me, would you have spoken up in that boardroom, or stayed silent? And if you know someone who needs to hear that their voice matters, share this video with them. Because sometimes, the person who changes everything is the one nobody expected to speak. Until next time.